Cocktails and Comets, activate. Shape of Batman, Court of Owls.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Cocktails and Comics, where we talk about tasty comics while drinking mega awesome brews or drinks or whatever, cocktails. With me tonight, we have Nick.
What's going on?
He's watching the game, so his eyes will be diverted during the tonight's conversation.
Lo siento. I got Tyreek Hill. I need Travis Kelce to eat tonight.
All right, and we got Eric. We've got Mr. Justin. Pretty fancy setup you got back there, sir. And you got myself. So, with that said, tonight we are delving into Batman, Court of Owls, Volume 2, Issues 1 through 7, Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. They're pretty much top-notch, A-level, seminal Batman run. So, beware the Court of Owls that watches all the time, ruling Gotham from a shadow perched behind granite and lime. They watch you at your hearth. They watch you in your bed. Speak not whispered word to them, or they'll send the Talon to take your head.
Ooh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah. Ooh.
That was good, man.
All right. So anyway, guys, time for that first question of the night. What are we drinking? Justin, start us off. What do you got? You always got the top-notch grade A stuff.
Got some Angel, Four Roses.
Whoa. Small batch. All right. Never fails to disappoint. I should just leave you at the end. I mean, you're clearly going to be the top every time. Mr. Eric, what are you drinking tonight?
I'm summoning my inner Court of Owls by pretending to be fancy as fuck by drinking some nice Pinot Noir rosé, but showing my grotesque insides by the fact that it came straight out of the box and it's in a pint glass.
Nice.
So cheers, bitches.
All right. Nicholas, what are you drinking?
Bro, got serious bullet bourbon.
Ooh.
All right. I actually can't. Well, maybe you can see a little pink in there. I don't know. I can't really show you what I'm drinking. It's a strawberry daiquiri. Got the bottle here in case I got to spice it up a little bit. Until they pay me, though, I'm not showing the label. Sorry, guys. But this Puerto Rican rum needs to pay me first before I put that label
That
on.
narrows it down. Totally narrows it down.
Right. All right, guys. So let's get into the questions. Question 1. Or question 2.
We've already forgotten.
Yeah. What did we think of Scott Snyder's writing on Court of Owls? It's a pretty acclaimed series. So I think all three of you guys are pretty much Batman aficionados. It doesn't matter where I start or end. You're all going to have something good to say about it. I've got all these Batman books and probably still haven't read half as much Batman as any of you guys. So, Justin, with that fancy wall, you have earned the honor to be number 1 today. Let us know what you think about Snyder.
Snyder, for me, he's the one that got me right back into collecting comics. My good friend Todd, he knew that I was a huge Batman fan growing up, and he was like, hey, man, have you been reading the New 52? I said, nah, I kind of been out of comic scene for a while. So he gave me a third printing of Batman New 52, number 1. I flew right through it, and I was immediately hooked. I said, wow. I was like, this isn't that campy Batman stuff that you used to like seeing. I was like, this has a dark twist to it. I said, and you could just tell right from the get-go that Snyder had a very good understanding of the Batman universe going into it. I loved it because you see a kind of side of Batman that's very dark. He's very brooding. He has a very, I like to say, kind of like a socialite subtlety to him, where he has this like aficionado kind of like outtake on like being promiscuous, but then he also is I'm at a loss of word. I just
So
love
damn
Snyder.
good. You lost all your words.
I know.
You're like, I said
Um,
promiscuous. Oh,
I
God.
know.
Mhm.
No, but he's very. You can tell that there's an anger to him. That there's a darkness to this Batman that it's fun to see because this is the kind of Batman that we kind of were introduced in a lot of like Frank Miller, and we were introduced to that in a lot of the 1989 Tim Burton movie. So for me, that's where I latch on to my love for Batman.
All right. Nick, I'm going to pull you away from the game so you can go back to it real quick. What is your
right.
take on Snyder?
I like the writing style. I think that my only criticism would be he gets a little wordy at the end of his comics, but this, spoiler alert, isn't the end of the run. I kind of like that he kind of puts Batman at the peak of his powers in this. If you see in the first issue, which I have right here, CGC autographed by Capullo, Glapian, and Snyder. 9.6 grade, not my best, but okay.
Nice.
Right off the bat, he's in Arkham, and he just beats the crap out of pretty much everybody but Joker. I would say most of his rogues. Doesn't break a sweat. Like, he even smiles and says there's no place like home. So Snyder kind of uses that arrogance against Batman in that he feels like it's his city and he knew the city and he really didn't know the city.
Yeah, and I mean, I did like the way he threw us into the world with Batman starting out beating up people, and even that I don't know, MacGuffin or red herring Joker type deal that appears, and then it's not actually the Joker, but you're like, oh shit, team up with the Joker right out the gate, like.
Yeah.
Joker has a flock of seagulls. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, he can't fight that good.
Yeah, but he definitely just throws you right into this world, and he gives you a pretty kick-ass Batman. So, Mr. Eric, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, what's great about this story and Snyder in general is that I think, I think Nick actually nailed it in terms of how he takes the world and uses it against Bruce, and it's that arrogance and that sense of the identity that he has for himself in association with with Gotham.
Oh, he wanted to be on YouTube.
So and it's great to see Bruce get sort of stripped down and taken down to brass tacks in a way that isn't just like constantly being beaten and we're going to take away all of your bat family and all this. It's like, it's so fundamental. It's like everything that you do about this place and yourself is wrong. And Snyder really smartly gives the nods to the world of Batman that we know. Like is it issue 4 or 5 where we get that Frank Miller year 1 moment of him saying, yes, I'll be the bat. And then you see the bat and then you see again fucking destroyed by an owl. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh! So that was that moment that we knew that's canon and this huge seminal part of our bat world. And oh, wait, there's more.
Yeah, man, I was going to say that and I forgot. I texted Will that.
Yeah, it was issue 5. Issue 5.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah, so yeah, it's like right at the top.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yeah. And Snyder is so good at creating mythology and creating like his own spin on the world and creating this thing that's entirely new, this Court of Owls, but still feels so lived in and such an essential part of the world, even though just like Bruce, we're finding out about it for the first time. It's like, oh yeah, that's always been there, so that's pretty awesome.
Which is odd because he's a billionaire too. Like, you feel like he would have known about it or been invited to it or anything.
And that's what I loved about Snyder is that, like, when he got the reins to take, like, the main line of Batman, it was just so smooth in the transfer. And like you said, it's because those subtle nods to where he was hitting into, the continuity of what we all knew and grew up with. It just didn't seem out of reach. It wasn't like a far fetch where he was trying to, like, make an image for himself. It just kind of went right into it. And you're like, all right, I believe this. This sounds like it could be a Batman story.
And the shocking thing about it, too, is that, like, this is the beginning of his run. And like you think about the stuff that comes after this, you know, we have Death of the Family and 0 Year. So he goes back to the well of all the stuff that we're used to, which is like the Joker's going to kill everybody that you love. Great. Origin story. Great. Like it's all the shit that we know. Like you would expect an origin story to be the beginning of his tale here. And instead he just drops us in media res and gives us probably the most original thing that Snyder has definitely written for Batman, and probably the most original thing that's been written for Batman in the past 20, 25 years. So it's astonishing that that's just what they came out of the gate with. You're like, whoa, okay. And this is what brought me back into books, really, like because I was out of the game for a while. And I picked up that #1, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm back." All right. I mean,
oh no, welcome back.
Is that
sucked
something
the rest
we all
of
share?
New 52 sucked balls, but you know, this is the bright shining bit of it.
I mean, did Snyder get all of us into comics? Because it got me. Black Mirror got me in it. I know it got you, Will. So
Which was like right before, but yeah, Snyder 2011. I'm thinking this was end of.
Yeah, this came out in 11.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what? And I'm glad that you said Black Mirror, because with Snyder, in this run right here, you can see that he has some of those undertones from what he did with Black Mirror, and kind of just really expanded on it when he had the the full range of the series. So I mean, like especially like when he gets his bat mask in Black Mirror, he gets it's an EMP mask that he uses, like an electromagnetic mask, and they use that same technology from when they have Dick Grayson as the Joker. So it was cool to see him kind of pull from his own stuff, where you're kind of like, oh, I see where you're going with that. And like with the dealer, how there's this like whole underground society of like, the socialites in Gotham, and here they are bidding on a bunch of stuff. And it was like, all right, there's another underground society that's kind of deep down rooted into Gotham. So it was cool. I like how he kind of played off of his own stuff and then just really made it his own.
I mean, yeah, it was awesome. And I
like
think
the company has just gone to straight rum.
no, there was still a little bit in there.
Oh, okay. This is like a strawberry.
Yeah.
Speaking of strawberry daiquiri, he grabs the bottle
I make it in my mouth.
and chases it with a little bit of the daiquiri.
Yeah. Just pop a strawberry after. All right, we're good. It all mixes up in the same place, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and yeah, I think you guys covered all the bases. It was just and right off the bat, it's just excellent. I think storytelling, like it's so succinct. There really isn't a lot of wordiness, which later on he creates these really long wordy arcs in his work. But this right here was like some of his best work. He's like boom, 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 and he trusts the artist, so he lets the art tell his story, which is going to lead us to our next question. What do we think about the art in the book? And we're going to touch on Capullo, who clearly does a bang-up job with this. But then we also have the inker Glapion, which we've all kind of met at con and everything, and he's a pretty cool guy. But yeah, let's get into the artwork. So we'll open up with Eric.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the art here is just fantastic. Like there's nothing that I think you can say ill about it. This is one of the most badass Batmans that we've seen in forever. The costume design is fantastic. His attention to detail is ridiculous. Like from the first panel, he's supporting Snyder's storytelling with the little owls in the skyline and everything. Like it's dropped in all over the place, and like just every frame is dynamic and tells just as much story, if not more, than what the words are doing. And not to mention, I mean, the big elephant in the room is that crazy labyrinth layout where the art takes us into that spiral of madness that Bruce is going down, which is just fucking bonkers.
Be prepared if you read it on an iPad.
Yeah, that will drive you insane as well, because especially if you need to turn off auto rotate, because otherwise every time you go to turn it, it's just gonna keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going.
Now watch, I want to look at it.
Yeah, oh no, there it goes.
Nope.
No, you're not. You're not gonna look at it.
No,
No, you're still.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it just keeps
It
rotating,
was-
and
yeah,
it's upside down.
That is
Oh,
enough to try.
So that's why, Justin.
The first time I read it digitally was on a computer too, so I was like doing this.
Oh, I had to put my iPad down like on a table to like rotate the iPad without like turning the axis.
You're like, I'm an Olympic gymnast. It's like, this is no problem for me.
Yeah,
The best part is like, yeah, you're thinking like your gears are all messed up, and you're about to like call customer service or something, and then you go back to the book, the hard copy, and you're like,
right.
nope, that's exactly how it is.
Yep.
Which
Um,
is
But
yeah.
And Glapian does a great job. His ink work is so strong. The just gives really bold lines to everything that Capullo does in the pencils, and so everything's just striking and bold. And you know, he gets to flex those horror muscles a little bit here. You get a little of the stuff we used to see in Spawn and everything. Just the awesome design of the Court of Owls, and just that spot of the owl taking out the bat is just so gruesome and beautiful.
Yeah, or even what is it? I guess issue 5 when he's in the labyrinth, where Batman is just been in there for days and he's dehydrated, and just like the body horror type of art he gives you, and
I forget who does the coloring on this too, but the color
FCO.
FCO, yeah,
FCO,
because like the talon eyes that just come out of the darkness, that bright bold yellow everywhere, like it's
Oh yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. You can't talk about the penciling and the line work and the ink or the inking without talking about the coloring too. I just think everything came together so amazing on this book.
Yeah.
All right. So Nick, what did you think about the
Well, I guess if we talk about, I think issue 5 is personally one of my favorite issues in the series, because it showed they both kind of their creative minds melded together in this, because like, you know, he's bugging out, but the art really shows you his state of mind and everything when you read it on Scroll Block.
Yeah, I have to only imagine what those meetings were like, where we're like, we're going to draw this like this. And this book does lend itself really well, I think, though, to the digital format, like a lot of modern books do, but this one in particular. And it almost seems like it's almost like a mind fuck. I couldn't think of a better word when you especially when you read 5. And there is another scene, I think, when you're looking out the eyes of Batman, and if you read it like panel by panel, in the digital format, like they actually have like a zoom in, this isn't really technically in the book, but like they kind of zoom in on the eyes and then they zoom out of the eyes and they give you like a bigger perspective. And I was reading it on the DC app, and not an official sponsor of the show. And they I don't know, whoever maybe set up the digital format kind of worked with it, but it was actually pretty cool. I was like, oh man, if this was even in 3D, it'd be even like mind buggier, lack of a better word, it would blow your mind. But it was actually pretty cool. I think this is a book that if they wanted to, they could revisit it and actually make it like a digital interactive 3D kind of.
They are making a video game out of it.
They are. We'll get to that. Spoiler alert.
But I also liked how they molded, in terms of how we discussed earlier. It's a badass Batman. He's on a motorcycle chasing a train, going, hold on, Alfred, this will take a minute, and plays chicken with a train. Like, he doesn't have superpowers.
He's chasing a helicopter on train tracks on a motorcycle.
Sorry. But and I also love the fight with Talon. But he starts looking like a bat, like they draw him. It kind of reminded me of like an animality in Mortal Kombat 3. Where then he like punches him through a wall, and he was like, but then he's like, must get out, never come back here.
Well, he goes like Super Saiyan there for a split second, and then quickly his power runs out, and he's like crashing real hard, and he's like, all right, got to get out. Like,
never come back.
Yeah.
And another one where I thought Snyder and Capullo really melded. If you look at the art, how they drew the owl eating the bat, you could like tell an owl is a natural predator of the Batman, so it's just like their nature, like he's naturally not as strong as them. I just thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and getting back to that must get out thing, going back to Snyder, is I think he wrote a type of Batman where he is vulnerable. Like this is not a super, Superman type of Batman. Like he has some frailties, and he does write those frailties in there. This is a Batman who's very sure of himself, but also gets cracked real hard in this series, real hard. Justin, why don't you hit us up with some art knowledge?
So, I mean, it's your basic Capullo, man. I mean, everything he touches is just so amazing. And going back on like what we were talking about, how that one scene where they reference Year One by Frank Miller, he just did a great take on it, where you see the bat as soon as he's getting attacked. It just goes to show that Batman, right off the bat, when he chose his identity and was becoming the Batman, was already at a disadvantage. He was already in their targets. That was the most, that was the most pinnacle point of his upcoming. And at that point, it was just kind of like, hey, buddy, like, we're coming for you. And they stayed on the back burner. And it's just, that's what really helped the story kind of hit as hard as it did, was because it was believable. It was believable that these guys were kind of like, all right, let's let this crazy guy in a bat uniform, jump around for a little bit. And then now that it's like, all right, now he's pushing some boundaries, let's go get him. So, I mean, but Capullo, I just love the grit that he has to the Batman, because, there's some Batmans that you see and he's too clean cut. Capullo has this way of drawing this angst into him. And I love that if you notice, there's on some panels there, you have like a shadow cast of Batman on the wall, and he has this almost Neanderthal beast posture to him. He just looks very very brutally strong, and it just goes to show to the strengths of what Batman is as a brute force. But yet then you have Snyder writing as to the intellect, as him figuring stuff out as a detective. So it was great to kind of see the whole character get encompassed in this in this run. It was cool.
Yeah,
that's key. Yeah. Is that he lets him be a detective.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Cool.
Which is so rare these days.
But yeah,
and the courts, and they nest in their homes, right? Like the Court of Owls are in all his bases, or they're in his building, right? Wayne Enterprises.
Yeah.
On that 13th floor that doesn't exist, but it does. But yeah, that excellent point, Justin. Like they definitely give you the strength of Batman, but they also give you the intellect and the detective Batman, which is
exactly. Awesome. And I think that's why it meshes so well. That's the reason why it meshes so well, is because together, like if you just had Snyder, you're not getting that element of the Batman. And that's why they've been doing the metal together, and they keep on taking the tag team, because it's like these guys, they get it, and they have the magic when it comes down to the character. They understand them.
Yeah, totally. I will say that it did take me a split second, even though I loved it. It did take me a split second to get used to Capullo's artwork on the Batman, just because his Bruce Wayne is so crisp and clean and young looking and like fresh faced, I wasn't used to like such a fresh young Bruce Wayne, and the amount of detail that was in there was also something. And it's weird. It was just weird. But once I caught up to it, now I can't think of a better Bruce Wayne or a better Batman suit. He's basically given us like your thought of what Batman should be, which is amazing.
The gauntlets are sweet.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, Capullo added that aspect to his art to kind of really touch upon the duality of the character, where, Bruce Wayne has to put on this act as when he's in the public, the face, and then, now here he is doing this thing. I mean, the one thing that I wish that Snyder actually touched upon is that Bruce Wayne was very smug, and he was very, he just he had his sarcastic ways,
mm-hmm.
but I feel like they should have added a little more to his personality, where it kind of seemed like Bruce was forced to put on an act, because he has that kind of that sarcastic tone when he's Batman as well. And I think I would have liked to see a little bit more on Snyder's side to show, all right, Bruce has to go above and beyond to make it seem like he's not Batman.
Right.
Yeah, we get the bit when the Talon first strikes where he has to, make it not look so good. He's like, I have to make these look like lucky strikes, and
Right.
and then he says, all right, fuck it, now we're going for it. But yeah, I mean it's tough because he's playing a very earnest Bruce at the top, because it's very much like he's addressing the criticism that I think everybody has been throwing at Batman for years, which is like, you would do so much more for Gotham if you actually just use some of your money to make make infrastructure better than just going around punching people in the face. So he's just very earnest about that sort of like, we're actually going to make Gotham better through these programs and whatnot, which isn't a new idea, but yeah, it's hard to show the sarcasm when your mission is so worthwhile.
Yeah. I did want to just touch upon Capullo and the fact that he actually doesn't do art or commissions at cons, and part of it is because of that detail he puts in the back, and I guess he's got like a little OCD thing where he doesn't want to do an art piece if he can't finish it to his liking. So he doesn't want to do anything on the fly because he'll never finish it. It'll never be to completion or how he likes it. But that's the dedication he puts to his work, and you notice that in those little panels and stuff. Also, I know you guys have had cool experiences. Justin down there, for those, or up on your computer screen, but on my computer screen, which everybody will see, he's down there. Glapion's wife helped him CGC some books. So they're a really cool family, really good people. And that's the cool thing about this book, is we all met them at cons, and they were all really cool people. I know Eric, and I believe it was you too, Justin, that one time we went to get an autograph, and like the line was like, it was like a herd, and everybody was like, "Brah!" And then Eric like turns to his left or whatever, and
I was like, everybody's running, and I'm just like,
can you do that again, Will?
What was it that?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, everybody's like beelining to the back of the hall, and I'm just like walking at a good hustle, and I just looked to my left, and I was like, fucking dude with the shades and the fucking leather jacket. I was like, oh shit. I was like, what's up, man? He's like, what are these assholes doing? Like, I think they're here for you, man. He's like, whatever. So
I was one of those assholes. Left you guys behind. Ran for the line. Ended up behind you guys anyway.
Yep.
Well, and you know what? And meeting Capullo, he's just a rock star, man. He goes out there and he loves it, man. He loves everything about the fan base. He loves the industry, and that's what helps him get motivated and do the great things that he does. And like, since we all met them, I mean, you can just see that they have a dynamic between them. They have a really good relationship. Him and Scott, they're good friends. So it translates on how well they can communicate on like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing for this. What can you do with that? And when you have a partnership like that, it speaks for itself, man.
Yeah, and you can see it in their books.
I do kind of wish, like Nick was saying, that we were in the room when Greg gave those layouts for the labyrinth stuff, and I can see like Snyder like turning them all right side up. He's like, "No, you fucking moron! Like, you think I did this wrong?" Like,
well, and it's funny because you guys were saying like, oh, we're gonna touch upon like digital stuff, since I read mine on the floppies, and what I thought you guys were going to talk about is when the Talon stabs him from behind. I thought that they were going to do a half zoom, kind of so like you see like the Talon like riding up against Batman, and Batman's face, his eyes are popping out of his head, obviously because he got stabbed, but without the context, it could look a lot like a prison shower scene. So I thought that's where you guys were going to go with it. I was like, I can see them doing that, like the digital thing where you're kind of like, what the hell's going on? And then they zoom in. There's a knife coming through, and you're like,
Either way, it's getting penetrated.
So thank you once again for joining us on another Cocktails and Comics.